Picture this. You're at the airport, your flight is boarding, you hand over your passport, and it's revoked. No arrest, no court hearing, just an IRS tax debt you didn't resolve in time. I'm James Duff. I'm a licensed CPA, and I deal with IRS enforcement problems every single day. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how the IRS has the legal power to take your passport, who's at risk right now, and what you need to do today before this happens to you. Welcome back to Tax Problem Central. I've been a CPA for over 15 years, and I've helped lots and lots of folks resolve serious IRS problems. Offer and compromise, installment agreements, penalty abatements, wage garnishments, you name it. What I've learned in that time is this: the people who get hurt the worst are the ones who didn't know that the IRS could do what they've already done. This video is about making sure that doesn't happen to you. If you're new here, subscribe right now. Every week I break down what the IRS can and cannot do so you are never caught off guard. Let's get into it. In 2015, Congress passed the FAST Act, a highway funding bill. Tucked inside that was a provision that handed the IRS a powerful new enforcement tool. Under Section 7345 of the Internal Revenue Code, if you have what the IRS calls a seriously delinquent tax debt, the IRS can certify that to the U.S. State Department. And when that happens, the State Department can revoke your passport or deny your application for a new one. No trial, no hearing. The IRS sends a letter, and your ability to leave the country disappears. So who's at risk? Well, the magic number right now is $62,000. And before you think that's not me, listen carefully. That $62,000 includes penalties and interest. In my 15 years of practice, I've seen clients who started with $25,000 in tax debt and watched it quietly grow past the $62,000 mark because they ignored IRS notices. Penalties compound, interest accrues daily, and it happens faster than people expect. To be certified as seriously delinquent, you need to exceed that threshold and have at least one of these things in place: a notice of federal tax lien filed against you or an IRS levy issued against you. Both of those are enforcement actions. By the time your passport revocation is possible, the IRS is already deep into collections. That's why you can't afford to wait. So let's take a look at this step by step, how it actually happens. Here's the sequence. Pay close attention because most people miss the warning signs along the way. You have unpaid tax debt. Life gets complicated. You don't deal with it. Penalties and interest pile up quietly. You cross the $62,000 threshold. The IRS files a notice of federal tax lien or issues a levy. The IRS certifies your debt to the U.S. State Department. You then receive a CP 508C notice in the mail, and finally, your passport is revoked. The CP 508C goes to your last known address on file with the IRS. If you've moved, if you've been ignoring IRS mail, if your address is outdated, you may have no idea that this is coming. Some people find out when they apply for the passport renewal. Others find out at the airport gate. So who's protected? There are specific situations in which the IRS cannot certify your debt. You got to know these. You are protected if you are currently in any of the following: an IRS installment agreement, a pending or accepted offer in compromise, a collection due process hearing, currently not collectible status, bankruptcy or innocent spouse relief proceedings. You have to actively be in one of these situations. Simply owing the money and doing nothing provides zero protection. Doing nothing is how you end up getting certified. So what do you need to do right now? If you have unresolved IRS tax debt, here are the concrete steps you need to take. Know exactly how much you owe. Log into irs.gov and check the balance. Find out whether a lien has been filed. Find out whether a levy has been issued. Don't guess. No. Get into a resolution program, an installment agreement, an offer in compromise, currently not collectible status. There are real options available. but they don't happen automatically. You need to engage. Don't wait for the CP 508C. By the time that notice arrives, you've already been certified. The goal is to resolve the situation before the IRS reaches that point. Make sure whoever you work with is a licensed CPA or an enrolled agent. These are the credentials that authorize someone to represent you directly before the IRS. And after a bunch of these kind of cases, I can tell you, the earlier you act, the more options you have. Can you get your passport back? Yes, but understand the timeline. Once the debt is resolved, the IRS is required to send a decertification notice to the State Department within 30 days. After that, the State Department processes it, which in practice can take several weeks. If you have international travel planned, business, family, anything, do not assume this resolves quickly if you start late. The government moves on its own schedule, not yours. So, can the IRS take your passport? Absolutely. Yes. And it's happening to Americans right now. But every single step of this process is preventable if you take action before the IRS forces your hand. If you're watching this right now and you have unresolved IRS debt, here's what I want you to do. Make sure whoever you work with to resolve this is a licensed CPA or an enrolled agent. Those are the credentials that authorize somebody to represent you directly before the IRS. Don't hand your case to someone who isn't qualified to stand in that room. If you'd like to work with me directly, call my office at 203-589-4077. You will deal directly with a CPA or an EA, not a call center, not an intake agent, just straight answers about where you stand and what your options are. You can also visit dufftaxresolution.com or email inquiry@dufftaxresolution.com. If this video has helped you, please subscribe and share it with someone who is dealing with the IRS problems right now. You might be doing them a bigger favor than you know. Drop your questions in the comments. I read every one, and your question may become my next video. I'll see you there.